So a savvy Twitter user with the handle @BernieUpstateNY pointed out a graphic that MSNBC was running. I guess it was either Friday or Saturday that this graphic showed up on TV, and it says the contenders for Iowa. Here is the graphic, and as you can see, there's Klobuchar, there's Bennett, there's Biden, there's Warren, there's Castro, there's Williamson, there's Buttigieg, there's Booker, there's Gabbard, and there is Harris. There are 10 people on the screen right now. They're the contenders for the state of Iowa. Do you notice anybody missing? Anybody that probably should be on that graphic, but for some reason isn't? I'm sure you understand the same thing I do. Bernie Sanders isn't there. So where's Bernie, MSNBC? Right? I thought you guys were supposed to be not like Fox News, not horribly biased. But as we've seen repeatedly with your coverage of Bernie Sanders, you are 100% trying to erase Bernie Sanders from the public's recent memory. That's what's happening here. I mean, Bernie Sanders is still polling in the top 3 in Iowa. He is number 1 in many states who have these early primaries and caucuses. And yet they're sitting here throwing this disgusting graphic out there, which includes 3 people who didn't even make it onto the stage for the most recent Democratic debate. People who are quite literally polling at 0% in Iowa, and thought, you know what would be smart? Let's put those people on the graphic instead of Bernie Sanders because we friggin' hate Bernie Sanders so much. That's what this is. That is 100% what this is. Because it's not the first time they've pulled crap like this. Whenever they talk about polls showing Bernie Sanders either in second place or sometimes even in first place, they don't even list him at the top. They put him at the bottom and they put people polling lower than him above him so that it looks like, if you're not looking at the numbers, like Bernie Sanders is actually doing worse than he is. So why? Why the cover-up? Why are they trying to erase Bernie Sanders from our memories? It's because they're terrified of him. At the end of the day, MSNBC is a business run by a corporation, okay? Let's never forget that. Corporate media is garbage, whether it's left, right, center, doesn't matter. They're run by corporations, and corporations have an agenda. And the agenda is to make as much money as possible. But Bernie Sanders threatens that. Bernie Sanders threatens it by saying, I'm going to raise your taxes. Now, Elizabeth Warren says she's going to raise their taxes too, but for some reason they seem to like her. And to be honest, that's kind of disturbing a bit. Why are they loving Elizabeth Warren? I don't understand it. She wants to raise your taxes too. So why are they okay with her but not with Bernie? Maybe they know something we don't. And again, that's a little bit scary. But nonetheless, MSNBC has gone out of their way for months now to pretend that Bernie Sanders doesn't exist. They're downplaying his poll numbers that are showing him increasing in states across the country. And instead, they're trying to prop up nobodies like they are with this little picture here that I promise you, most of them will end up having to drop out before we even get to Iowa. Hell, on Saturday, Cory Booker's team released a memo that said if we don't raise $1.7 million in the next 10 days, we're done. Cory Booker, the guy who was supposed to be, one of the top front runners who never got any traction, they've got 8 days now to reach 1.7 million, and that's not going to happen. But MSNBC didn't hesitate to put him on the graphic, ignoring the fact that Bernie Sanders has now over 1 million individual grassroots donors to his campaign. He's not hurting for money. Hell, to be honest, MSNBC, even with your erasure of Bernie, he's still not even hurting for media coverage. He is doing great, and no matter how much you try to censor it, how much you try to omit him, or how much you try to mislead the public by putting his name in a weird spot in a poll, it's not going to change the fact that Bernie is still surging, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.